It's 5:22 inches the morning. In the Caribbean Sea, an American warship is being fired on at point-blank range. A Venezuelan patrol vessel opens up with a 76mm naval cannon. Shells rip across nearly a mile of open water, racing straight toward USS Gravely. This is not an accident. This is not a warning flare. This is a deliberate challenge. The Venezuelan crew pushes forward, closing the distance fast while their gun keeps firing. They believe speed and aggression will force the destroyer to back off. They believe the American ship wasn't ready. They were wrong. Inside USS Gravely, alarms echo through steel corridors. Sailors sprint to battle stations. Radar tracks lock in. Fire control solutions appear on screens in seconds. Every system on board was built for this exact moment. What the Venezuelan crew thought would be a brief show of force is about to turn into a lesson written in cold water and hard steel. Because the next 12 minutes will decide whether this encounter ends with a retreat or becomes one of the most dangerous naval standoffs the Caribbean has seen in years. And once it starts, there is no pause button. The Caribbean isn't just postcard water and vacation routes. It's a working sea. Every single day, commercial ships move fuel, food, and raw materials through these lanes, linking North America, South America, and global markets far beyond the horizon. USS Gravely is here to protect that flow, not to provoke, not to intimidate, but to make sure international waters stay open, predictable, and free from pressure. When that balance breaks, the effects don't stay on the water. They travel fast, straight into economies and alliances. Across the surface, the Venezuelan patrol vessel has a different mission. This encounter isn't about one ship meeting another. It's about testing resolve, pushing limits, measuring how much pressure it takes to make a modern warship hesitate. One retreat can speak louder than 100 diplomatic statements. If the American destroyer backs away, the signal spreads immediately. Shipping companies react, insurance rates rise. Allies quietly reassess commitments. Control doesn't vanish overnight, but it starts to slip. If the destroyer holds its position, the message flips. Lines still exist, rules still matter, and escalation becomes a dangerous gamble instead of a shortcut to influence. There are no referees out here, no pause buttons. Just crews making irreversible decisions under pressure, knowing every maneuver is tracked, recorded, and studied by other navies preparing for their own next encounter. So here's the question: was this Venezuelan move calculated strength or reckless provocation? Press 1 if you think they crossed a line. Press 9 if you think the U.S. presence invited the clash. And if you want more real naval confrontations where one decision changes everything, subscribe now. Because when diplomacy fades, steel, discipline, and nerve take over. Minutes after first contact, the distance collapses fast. What was open water turns into a compressed battle space. On USS Gravely, sensors sharpen the picture in real time. The Venezuelan vessel is no longer posturing. It's committing, closing head-on with intent that's impossible to misread. Fire control locks in. The destroyer does not answer with full force. Instead, it warns. A precise burst from the 76mm gun tears into the water ahead of the approaching ship. The splash is deliberate, close enough to be undeniable, far enough to signal restraint. The response is not restraint. The Venezuelan patrol vessel keeps coming. Range drops from over a kilometer to a few hundred meters. Their gun stays hot. What began as signaling becomes pressure. At this distance, reaction time shrinks and errors turn permanent. USS Gravely shifts posture. Electronic warfare systems surge online, filling the space with invisible resistance. GPS interference spikes without warning. Navigation systems quietly switch to inertial backup. No confusion, no delay. This ship was designed to fight blind and keep moving. Inside the Combat Information Center, decisions stack up in seconds. Target priority updates, angles tighten, firing solutions stabilize. The destroyer doesn't need to shoot to control the moment. It needs to prove it already can. Then comes the message that never appears on camera. Radar locks hold steady. A missile firing solution is achieved. No launch, just the unmistakable signal that the Venezuelan crew has been fully mapped, tracked, and placed inside a lethal envelope. Confidence on the smaller ship starts to thin. The sea feels tighter. The distance feels shorter. Aggression now carries a cost that can't be reversed. This is the hinge point. One order escalates everything. One hesitation ends it. If you were watching this unfold on the radar screen, what would you do next? Press 1 if you think the Venezuelan crew should disengage now. Press 9 if you think pushing closer still makes sense. And if you want to see how these split-second choices actually play out at sea, subscribe now. Because in the next moments, intimidation gives way to reality, and one ship realizes the balance has already shifted. The standoff doesn't break, it tightens. The Venezuelan vessel slows, but it does not withdraw. Instead, it lingers just inside the edge of danger, hovering in that narrow space where intent can still be denied. Close enough to threaten, far enough to claim restraint. The water between the ships feels smaller with every passing second. USS Gravely responds with discipline, not drama. A slight course adjustment, a few degrees of turn. Not to flee, but to reduce exposure, protect key systems, and keep every defensive option open. To an untrained observer, it looks minor. To another Navy, it's a clear signal of control. Electronic pressure continues to build. Sensors probe back and forth. Signals collide. On the Venezuelan ship, the tactical picture refuses to settle. Interference lingers. Updates lag. Corrections come late. The advantage they expected never arrives, and uncertainty replaces confidence. On board Gravely, the atmosphere stays calm. No raised voices, no rushed movements. Checklists are followed. Commands are short and precise. Every sailor knows their role, feeding one objective: dominate the encounter without firing the shot that changes everything. The patrol vessel tries to force a reaction, a change in speed, a shallow cut across Gravely's bow. It's a classic maneuver: pressure the larger ship into looking reckless if it holds course, or weak if it turns away. Gravely doesn't take the bait. Distances are called out on the bridge. Helm answers instantly. The destroyer holds its line, keeping the other ship exactly where it wants it, inside a zone where options shrink with every meter closed. Seconds stretch into minutes. This is where nerves usually fail. Not during explosions, but during silence. One side waits for the other to blink, knowing the next move will define the encounter. If the patrol vessel fires again, escalation is immediate. If it turns away, the message is delivered without a word. So ask yourself at this distance, under this pressure, which choice actually keeps control? Press 1 if you think Venezuela should disengage before it's too late. Press 9 if you think staying inside the danger zone still proves strength. And if you want to see how close encounters like this usually end, subscribe now. Because the next move doesn't need a missile to change everything. Just when the standoff seems frozen, everything changes. USS Gravely's sensors pick up something new. Not the patrol vessel, not the gun. A smaller contact, riding low, hugging the surface, fast, hard to track, appearing almost out of nowhere. This wasn't part of the original picture. The Venezuelan ship isn't acting alone anymore. Whether it's a secondary craft, an unmanned asset, or a coordinated probe, the effect is the same. The battlefield suddenly widens and the margin for error collapses. Gravely shifts instantly. Defensive priorities update. Close-in systems wake up. The destroyer tightens its posture, preparing for a threat that doesn't announce itself with gunfire or radio calls. On the Venezuelan side, this is the gamble. Smaller, faster assets are harder to hit, harder to identify. They force reactions, they compress timelines, they turn restraint into risk. But they also cross a different kind of line. At this range, with multiple contacts in play, intentions no longer matter as much as capability. One miscalculation, one asset drifting too close, and the encounter stops being a standoff. It becomes a fight. Inside Gravely, the message is clear. This is no longer about signaling, it's about survival margins. So here's the real question. Did introducing this new element strengthen Venezuela's position, or did it push the encounter past the point of control? Press 1 if you think this move forced the U.S. ship onto the defensive. Press 9 if you think it sealed Venezuela's mistake. And if you want to see how fast twists like this can flip the outcome at sea, subscribe now. Because the next seconds will decide whether this escalation pays off or backfires completely. The final moments arrive without warning. The small contact accelerates, skimming the surface, throwing up spray as it cuts across the dark water. On USS Gravely, reaction time collapses to seconds. There's no room left for signaling, no space left for interpretation. This is the edge where hesitation becomes damage. Gravely commits. Close-in defenses snap fully awake. Systems track, refine, and lock in rapid sequence. The destroyer tightens its posture. Every adjustment measured, every movement designed to steal fractions of a second. On the bridge, distance calls come faster now. The numbers fall. Too fast. Fire erupts. Tracers slice through the night, stitching a line across the water just ahead of the incoming contact. The sea explodes upward. Spray and debris flash white under the ship's lights. The object veers hard, stutters, then vanishes into the churned water. One threat neutralized, but the engagement isn't over yet. All eyes swing back to the patrol vessel. For a brief, fragile moment, everything balances on a knife edge. Weapons are hot. Sensors are locked. Another move, another burst, and escalation becomes automatic. Both crews feel it. The silence after the firing weighs heavier than the noise before it. Gravely holds steady. No pursuit. No showmanship. Just control. Then the patrol vessel turns. Not abruptly, not dramatically. A gradual change in heading. Speed easing back. Distance opening inch by inch. It's subtle but unmistakable. The signal is clear. This line will not be crossed tonight. On Gravely's displays, the picture stabilizes. No second contact, no follow-on threat. The destroyer maintains position, weapons ready, dominance intact. The encounter ends not with a final shot, but with a decision. So here's the moment that matters most. When the threat closed in, was Gravely right to fire? Or should it have waited 1 second longer? Press 1 if you think decisive action prevented disaster. Press 9 if you think restraint should have gone further. And if you want clear breakdowns of real naval flashpoints like this, subscribe now. Because sometimes the most powerful victory at sea is the one that stops just short of war. By sunrise, the sea looks calm again. No smoke, no wreckage drifting on the surface. To anyone passing through these waters, it feels like nothing happened at all. But both navies know exactly what happened. The Venezuelan patrol vessel returns to port damaged, its mission incomplete. There's no victory announcement, no footage released, just internal reports, unanswered questions, and a quiet acknowledgement that the encounter didn't go as planned. USS Gravely remains on station. Systems are inspected, crews reset, watches rotate. The ship never left international waters, never crossed a legal boundary, and never lost control of the engagement. That restraint, measured and deliberate, is precisely why the outcome matters. Strategically, the signal travels far beyond the Caribbean. Aggression didn't force a retreat. Speed didn't create leverage. And introducing risk only narrowed options instead of expanding them. Allies watching closely see that presence, when paired with discipline, still holds weight. But there's another lesson beneath the surface. This wasn't a clash of fleets or missiles. It was pressure applied in increments. Decisions made in seconds. Cheap assets forcing expensive reactions. Silence doing more work than firepower. Escalation came close, closer than most people will ever know. The sea lanes remain open, trade continues, daily life moves on. But the margin for error is thinner now. The next encounter may involve more ships, the next commander may be less cautious, and the next small contact might not turn away when challenged. So here's the final question. Did this standoff reinforce stability, or did it expose how fragile it really is? Press 1 if you think deterrence held firm. Press 9 if you think this was a warning of something worse ahead. And if you want to stay ahead of real-world flashpoints where a single decision can change everything, subscribe now. And somewhere in the background, planners on both sides adjust their playbooks. New routes, new rules of approach, new assumptions about what the other side will risk next time. Because at sea, peace isn't guaranteed. It's enforced one decision at a time.